After quite a boring weekend, we still have Bitcoin sitting above the previous lows, which did end up being a temporary double bottom. And now we are attempting those lows yet again. So far, we're still holding support. So what we got to speak about today is obviously the holding of these supports and when we need Bitcoin to start breaking up. Because what Bitcoin does have, it does have this major trend line that's in play over here. And ultimately, it is showing that there can be a little bit more sideways from Bitcoin before we can start to get a bit of a bullish breakout. So trend lines are amazing to detect the amount of time that we can take. But what we do like about the current situation is we do have the dominance slightly starting to accelerate to the downside. Now, not the big acceleration just yet, but what we do have on the daily is our first lower low, which is something we have not seen for a while. And what it's basically indicating is if we continue the slow momentum down in dominance and we end up losing the 46.8%, we can have the fast acceleration we've been waiting for of up to a 44% dominance, if not the 40% dominance. Now, what is bringing the dominance down? What is showing strength to Bitcoin while the market is looking weak? Obviously, what we have is gaming. We got the announcement coming from Apple later. You can see, even though on the daily we are getting a little bit of a red market, what we are getting is the gaming tokens waking up. We have Mana, we got Sand, and we have Render. We're definitely going to speak about Render. We're going to speak about a Solana breakout to the Bitcoin pairing over a year trend to the downside. We're starting to break out on that. So let's start preparing our portfolio. We know Bitcoin's in this range and it might be here another few days. But ultimately, what are the coins that are showing strength right now? What are breaking trend? And if there is a strong Bitcoin bounce, what do we need to be in? Is this Apple announcement going to be a sell the news event? Is it going to be only just the beginning of a really strong pump? And what we're trying to ask ourselves is what's going to be the spark to get the Bitcoin dominance to lose that 47%, to make that strong acceleration down so we can finally release the rest of the altcoins. We have Ethereum breaking to Bitcoin. We have Litecoin breaking to Bitcoin. We have Solana. We have AVAX. There are many tokens to speak about. No more wasting time. It's going to be a big show. Let's get it.
Click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click. Enter the sniper.
Yo, Banter fam, hope you had a fantastic weekend. Hope you're doing well in the boring market. Let's not deny that the market's very boring right now. We're seeing a little bit of a green day, a little bit of a red day, and we just have Bitcoin trending at the moment. And I was actually speaking to the team this morning. I'm like, is this depression? Is this the phase where the market just does not do anything? And one thing that can excite us if it is depression, firstly, it's really hard to stay focused within the market. But secondly, depression's the last phase. That's the last phase where disbelief comes and all these things start to rally. So if it is depression that we're currently in, we're in the phase before a bull market starts. Now, technically, if the lows in the bull market's already begun, and if we look at the higher timeframes, it's showing that bull market has already started. Remember, bull market takes a few months to a year or two to start to slowly rally up. And then it's only the last few months where it really starts to accelerate. So don't get it wrong to think that only the fast moving part of the market is the bull market. Technically, it's about finding the depression, the emotion cycle of there's no volume right now. There's no one buying or selling Bitcoin right now. We're not getting any huge spikes. It's basically just this phase where nothing's happening. And this is where smaller projects struggle to survive, where a lot of your retail traders start to lose interest. A lot of people start getting flushed out. We just got to understand where we are mentally. Now, remember, guys, if you're brand new to the channel, smash the subscribe button, smash the like button. The few things I want to speak about is we have Banter Bubbles. So if you go into your Google search or your Safari on your iPhone, you can get Banter Bubbles either on the net or you can go to the App Store and you can download the app. Remember, what it is these bubbles where you have these basic bubbles, very similar to crypto bubbles, which I'll bring up for a second. So very similar to this. The only difference is this is all you get, right? With banter bubbles, you can click on the actual bubble and you have the people chatting and you can see why the token's moving. You can start getting fundamentals, and there's so many new features that are coming to where you can actually trade simply off of the bubbles. So a lot is happening there. Secondly, what we have is we have OKX, guys. If you sign up on the OKX link now below, they have up to $30,000 of deposit bonuses. So if you go below and you sign up and you open an account, use a Sniper School account. Because if you use a Sniper School account, you can get the sign-up bonuses, which is amazing. And you get these mystery boxes that you can open and all of that. And you can apply for Sniper School. Now, Sniper School starts cohort 6 within, I think next week is our first opening event. I think there are only 1,000 spots available left. We're filling up this cohort a lot quicker than the rest, which is really good. And this is going to take you from a level of being an intermediate into someone that really has a foundation in trading. And you want a foundation before the bull market starts. I teach you about businesses. I teach you about your mentality of what you really want out of crypto. If you hate your job because you work so hard every day, don't become a day trader because you're going to work just as hard. You know, it's about showing that you can select different timeframes that match your lifestyle. Where do you really want to be in 3 years? You want to be this millionaire? Yes, but what else? You don't want to be a millionaire that's never at home, that's working all the time. They want to be doing this or doing that. Like, I teach you how to really think about money in a different way that can suit your life. Because if you use it in the wrong way, money doesn't solve all happiness. But the creating of a beautiful life that you want, that creates happiness. And that's what I teach you in Sniper School. So join Sniper School below. Now, let's jump in and let's quickly have a look. So we got Bitcoin on the shorter time frame coming down at the moment. And what we have is this shorter term trend line that we broke last week. And what we said when we broke the trend line is we wanted to get above the 28,500. Very important. Major trend line that we want to break. Got my spot in Sniper School. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Join Sniper School, guys. Best thing you'll ever do, I promise you. And it's free. I don't know if I mentioned that. It is free. So what we had over here was we had the push up. We got rejected in a place that we didn't really want to get rejected just yet, but we got rejected. Now what we're looking for is us to obviously hold support and hold these previous lows. We know that we have this major trend over here. And what it basically indicated was throughout the whole of last week was we actually quite far from the initial momentum that's coming to the downside. And when that usually happens in crypto, all that it means is you can look at a market that's going to trend and bring a little bit of boringness. Now, boringness is not a bad thing. It's really not a bad thing. Boringness always comes when a big move needs to happen. And I don't know about you guys, but this looks like a lot of boringness over here. And we saw a lot of this the end of last year where Bitcoin was just hovering between the 16 and the 20,000, hovering. And because it hovered for such a long period of time, it created quite a big result, right? And that's what you got to look at over here. You got to look at this is accumulating for a big move. Now we got to pay attention. Which move is it? Is it this big move over here to get us to the higher levels? Or is it this big move over here to raise all the hard work that the bulls have formed throughout the whole year? And that's how we know we are getting near the end here where a huge decision is going to be made. I don't know about you guys, but if I look over here on the Binance chart, I see zero volume. Like this is a very little amount of volume that we're seeing in the area. And you could see over here, go back to when we started the rally in the beginning of the year. Look at that volume. Look at that, like absolutely started to rampage through. And what this basically means is no volume now, no interest right now, a lot of confusion in the market, but it also means that a volume spike is coming at any moment. And that's what you actually always want to see. You want to be in a phase of sideways and long volume trending. And wherever we break the major level is where the big move is coming. So don't think that a volume indicator is just something that shows bars. It tells you a story. It tells you what comes next. Because I explained it again, well, earlier in the session, that whenever you have a bear market, you have accumulating boring market, and then you go into disbelief and you go into the uptrend of the market. It's the same when you have the reverse of a bull market. And we saw this in May, where price will go up, it will start to slow down, and then big move to the downside. So the fact that we're getting sideways now is a good thing, because at any moment, the big move is coming. And because you're getting volume that came from a high place of getting us to those levels to being absolutely nothing right now shows you the same thing. As soon as we break either level of here or here and a critical zone, this volume is going to come up and it's going to spike up and it's going to give us a directional move that actually has volume. The problem that we don't want to see in crypto is when a move is happening and there's no volume backing it. And that's probably what happened for the majority of the bull run in 2020, which you were having this rampage in price, but volume was just tapering down, which means that it's small money smaller accounts that are buying all of that push to the upside, and it's not the big wallets. And then now and then, guess what happens? You see a big red spike where you just see, that crazy liquidation candle, but you see the crazy red volume, and they take their time, and that's them offloading. So it's just understanding where we're at. So right now it is demotivating, guys, but you got to pay attention to the major levels. And if you want to take time from your screen, no problem. But put the simple alarms in play. So still, as things stand, we have these two lows over here as the major support, which is the 25,500 level. It's the 200 weekly moving average. It's the same support we've been focusing on. And that's the same one you want to focus on a higher time frame to know that there's still a possibility of a bullish momentum move this year and the continuation of this bullishness. On the shorter time frame, we have the previous lows here, which is the 26,500. We bounce over here, amazing. But what I'm basically thinking that Bitcoin's going to do is there's two scenarios. We either go down and test the lows now, but we accumulate for about another few days, maybe even this week of accumulation. Now, there's exciting news because the dominance can come down and there's going to be altcoins to trade. But when it comes to Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin is just going to trend sideways for a little while until we do have the big break of that trend line. So I don't think there's going to be much happening from Bitcoin as things stand unless we drop this low. We drop these lows over here. Bitcoin will go for the next zone, which is the $24,000 level. I do see us having interest there, and I do see us having a bounce at that point if we go there. So just be prepared that if Bitcoin starts to approach these lower zones and you're in some short-term trades, just be prepared to tighten those stops to protect yourself in case quickly for the quick flush out that may come, which makes sense. Everyone's been waiting for 25,000. There are tons of orders. If they want to screw them, if they want to liquidate the longs, they'll send it slightly lower to 24. But between 23 and 24, I'm expecting quite a big bounce. I'm expecting volume to kick in at any single moment. Close my AVAX in huge profits. Phenomenal. Very proud of you. So Bitcoin's very simple at the moment. The next thing I want to quickly speak about is the dominance. So dominance is losing trend as things go to the downside. And what you have is the first daily lower low, which is good. So if you had to basically see what this means, is you'll take these small horizontals over here. You have this one over here, and then you got one more major one, which is here, of where it will go next. And then after that, you have the big one. And ultimately, whenever we see any coin going to the upside like this, I'll ask you the question again. If this was the coin you were in, is it time to buy or is it time to sell? And many of you will say sell, right? Pop in the comments. Would you buy or sell this coin if you looked at it on the charts? I would likely look to be shorting or to be selling. Okay, and this is the Bitcoin dominance. So again, it is showing that money is going to flow into altcoins as things stand at the moment. And the only thing that for me will shift it is if Bitcoin smashes through the 30 again, and then this will decide to go up. But as things stand, we said this is the top range, and we should get rejection and we should gain strength within altcoins. May this reflect in the dollars? We will see. And what I mean by that is the market's all green, or the market goes heavy red and Bitcoin decides to drop to 22,000. But end of the day, it's going to drop a lot faster in altcoins. And by being in altcoins, you're making Bitcoin. We're just looking at what's the top performing asset. Why do we get into altcoins, guys? Because they're going to outperform Bitcoin and Ethereum, and we're going to make more money, more dollars, yes, but make more of Bitcoin and Ethereum. That's the only time you're actually getting into altcoins, is to take advantage of the growth of what it does compared to the bigger assets. So as things stand over here now, if we lose this area, I'm looking at a continuation to the previous lows. Okay, if we lose those lows, this is big. That's a big drop. It's a big drop in dominance, which means strength within altcoins. So all you want to do now is you want to go look at many of your altcoins that you have in your portfolio. Make sure that you've categorized them, very important, but you want to compare them all to Bitcoin charts. Now, let me show you one example over here of what that means. Why are we looking at Solana all of a sudden? Let's go look at Solana here for a second, and let's actually bring this up on the daily over here, and let's get the 200 moving average. There we go, on the daily. So what we have is we're starting to get Solana to break trend. And what I mean by trend is if we take this trend over here, we could see that Solana is starting to break a daily trend to Bitcoin. Then what I did as well is I took this and I'm like, whoa, okay, but look at this. So if we take this and we take the 200 moving average, look how it's hit it many times and it's just rejected it, okay? And it's been in this downtrend for a while, and it's actually up to just over a year to 14 months of a downtrend. Now, all of a sudden, you have Solana to Bitcoin breaking daily trend, and a trend's usually an early signal. And if it breaks this 200-day moving average, which is basically around about 3% of where we are now, we could be seeing a long-term break to the upside and a shift of possibly Solana outgrowing Bitcoin for a good period of time. This is not a small indicator. It's a large time frame indicator. If we break this, this could finally start the uptrend of Solana to the upside. And if you have a look the previous time when we broke the 200-day, look what happened. We ended up going into a long market of Solana beating Bitcoin. Now, guys, I did a weekend video this week, and I've done it from my previous school sessions, and I showed you the power of erasing the dollar from your brain. Okay, where you don't even focus about trading the dollar. You just focus on when do I trade an altcoin, when do I trade Bitcoin, when I trade altcoin, when I trade Bitcoin. And by you shifting between the two and erasing the dollar from your brain, you end up making 20x more dollars by removing it completely. So you got to look at this chart and be like, for my long term now, if I got Solana, ideally, if Solana breaks this could start a really strong uptrend over a good period of time. And ultimately, it can make me a lot more Bitcoin. It will outperform Bitcoin. And if you look here at the percentages of where this can go, firstly, this goes to the top range over here, and you have 120% outgrowth in that period. If it goes anywhere near in the future of up to the highs, you're looking at 400 to 500% gains. So just pay attention to a lot of your tokens to the Bitcoin pairing right now. I know looking at to the dollar, it's demotivating at the point. So remove the demotivation. Remove whatever's in your way that's making you think that Bitcoin and crypto is boring right now. I'm losing interest. So gain interest. And the way you gain interest is you focus on the major pairing. We have volume that's about to come into. So what you have is volume tapering to the downside here, and a volume spike is coming soon. And if this breaks the 200-day over here, the volume spikes to the upside, and you're going to see a good strength of Solana. Now, what does that do automatically if you start looking at that to the charts? Let's actually bring up Sol over here. There we go. You can see how Solana's already broken daily trend. Look how it's held 200 MA over here. And for me, there's already a great daily candle that formed yesterday. And for me, this dip I'm buying. This short-term dip over here, I'm buying. And I am buying some for the longer term as well. But what I'm also seeing is this might be a fun coin to trade shorter time frame as well. One that's going to give us a range. One that's going to give these sort of things. Now, I know a lot of people are saying I'm already in Sol. We've spoken about Sol. What I'm trying to say is when you see a coin that gives you a perfect setup of understanding it to Bitcoin and understanding it to the dollars and seeing, whoa, this is what I want to see out of a coin. I want you to replicate that and look if your tokens are doing the same thing. Are they breaking these levels? Are they breaking to Bitcoin? Are they not? And if they're not breaking to Bitcoin, it just means that it's not their time right now, which means in your head now, you can just say, okay, let me take a breather, not worry about these coins right now. But these ones that are breaking, I need to be ready. Because remember, you've gotten yourself in 20 tokens, okay? You've built a portfolio now. Now, what happens if 3 of them run this week? And then they stop this week, end of this week, and next week, your other 3 run. It means that if you have 3 of them that you've caught, focus on those 3 and wait for the rest to do what they need to do. Make sure you're taking profits on the pumps. Render has done 600% this year, guys. 600% this year, while the rest of the market hasn't done it. And that's what you got to understand. Some of your coins are going to go at different times. And when they run, put your focus on the ones that are running. The rest, you're waiting for the next sequence to move. And you'll see as soon as the top ones start to slow down, the next bunch starts to shoot off. It's just about staying on top of the game. So Solana's looking amazing. Now let's actually quickly go through. I want to quickly speak about the USDT dominance breaking to the upside. Not good at the moment. We want to see a lower high. So we need to see a slowdown of people getting into USDT. This is a little bit of a concern at the moment. So we want to see a lower high. It's pretty much the same as the Dixie. We want the Dixie to slow down. We want a lower high in Dixie. We want a lower high in USDT dominance to continue so we can finally get a strong bounce. But however, we look at this and we're like, whoa, stock market looking pretty good. The futures. If we look as things stand at the moment, you know, this might end up breaking an important trend. So let's actually get the trends up over here. Let's go to the higher time frame. There we go. So look at this. You take this trend over here and you're like, whoa, like this is close. I don't get why there's a slight decouple this year. I don't know if you noticed though, but there's a decouple between stock markets going up, crypto going down. Stock markets going down, crypto going up. It's quite crazy. But end of the day, we want this to be happy. And what we have over here is approaching yet another resistance. And if we break this resistance, it's actually quite crazy because we'll get our first higher high if we get through. And you could probably look at something only if it breaks through, guys. Take it back to all-time highs this year. Imagine we have an all-time high this year, which will be insane. obviously we do have this part over here, which we need to pay attention to. And that would only come if we break this trend over here. So just pay attention on this. Mondays, we always go through the higher time frame market sort of thing so we can see what's happening. Another one actually as well that we're speaking about is oil. So if you look at oil over here, we basically have oil on the verge of quite a big breakout. So remember, guys, if you go to Prime, you could see I've actually got the chart here on the weekly at the moment, is there's an oil trade coming up and you can trade with USDT. So remember, when it comes to crypto, to trading oil and gold and things like that, it's always quite tough. With PrimeXBT, you can. So if you sign up below using one of the links, you get deposits of bonuses as well. And you can trade crypto to stocks and gold and oil. And just pay attention, because I think if oil breaks this trend over here, especially for people that are more conservative, they want to trade something a little bit more stable, not too crazy as in crypto, this looks good, because this ultimately can make a run to the 618. And if you look at percentages wise, it's not bad. Maybe we should shift from crypto to this, bro. It's not bad, because if this breaks the trend over here, and we look at percentage wise, is a 46-50% within oil. And the way you would trade it is you'll buy the break of trend and you would put your stop loss under this previous low over here. Now, guys, take your time with PrimeXBT. They're amazing. They got tutorials. Just know that it is leverage platforms. So just be very aware of that and take your time to understand it, but definitely get used to trading gold and that with crypto. I think it's a great way to diversify. I really, really, really do. Okay, let's jump back within the coins. So the first one we're seeing moving today, because I want to focus on the good. What's moving good right now is KAVA. So KAVA, I've spoken about many times. If you're a trader, I don't know if I'll be getting it at this price. I think $1 range is okay for KAVA for the long term. But as a trader, pay attention. 4-hour breaking of trend. I'm looking at this, just go back to the 618. So for me, I'm looking for some trades today to keep active. And I'm looking at basically a 30% reward versus stop loss, which is around about a 5%. So if you look at risk to reward, pretty good trade. And we're getting volume here right now. So you can see some coins, because that dominance is coming down now, even if Bitcoin's coming down, you're still going to get the popcorn effect, where you're going to have random altcoin exposures that come at any single moment. So KAVA, definitely a big one. Now let's focus on what's happening with Apple, because we're starting to get interest within gaming. We'll see. It's obviously their first prototype. I do think it's going to create short-term hype. And I think it's going to create some good short-term trades for you to make money. Obviously, what I want to see is a dominance drop and to get the bigger projects running. But right now, this is creating hype. You can start to see how Decentraland, how we're starting to get a volume spike to the upside. So what I saw this morning is we broke a shorter-term trend. And there are some buys around the 50 to the 51 cents with a stop around 48. So around about a 4, 5, 6%. And then what it's showing is the gap of where this price could start to accelerate from here. Once we get past this high, we can start shooting to these areas of 60, even to the possibilities of 70-cent mark, and then a retest and a continuation. So it looks right now that the strength is really big within gaming, and this is probably where you're going to get some action if you're looking to trade. So Decentraland is definitely one of them at the moment, which are offering, if I had to look at 2 TPs over here, look at the first one of 15 and the second one of around 34%. We then have Sandbox, which we spoke about. We got the entries last week, which I don't think has an entry right now. So I'm speaking to all of those that did get the Sandbox entry. If we get through this MA now and this little horizontal over here, this red box, because if we don't, it might be a short-term TP, sell the news, possibly. But if we get through here, there's going to be quite a big acceleration. And you're looking at another 10, 20% to the upside as things go. If you want to buy, I'd be waiting for a little bit lower to the areas of the mid 50s. So 54, 55 cent sort of mark on a retest as things go. But definitely focus on Sand right now, as there's a lot of action happening and volume coming in. Then we have Render. Probably one of the funnest tokens as well. Like, it's been a crazy volatile token, and I think this is just going to rip on the Apple news. I really do think it's going to do well. So what we have on the shorter time frames over here is, you could see we've broken trend and we've retested. So technically, as things stand now, if you wanted to enter as a short-term trader, this current dip over here should probably be the more or less entries for a Render trade. Now, long-term, guys, if you want to buy Render long-term, I'm waiting for $2. I'm waiting for $2. Okay. So if I'm buying anywhere on this pullback, it will be a little bit bigger of a stop loss. So high leverage is not making sense on this trade at all. But I think spot and low leverage will be good. But I think what we're looking for is to hold the current low and to have a bounce here on the break of trend. If so, we want to see the break of the highs. And if that happens, I think we're going to $4. So I still think render is one of the hottest ones right now. I think short time frame, you'll be crazy by not trading it. For those who want a short-term trade. Long-term, I won't buy to hold for too long, guys. If you're buying anything now, it's for the pump. You make the money on it. Best buy this year. It's definitely been the best buy this year. And remember, we have targets of $4. We even have up to $5.5, which we'll see within the future. But for now, let's focus on some entries. And it's looking really, really, really good as things stand. Let's quickly speak about the Ethereum to Bitcoin breakout. This is looking good. We finally closed above the daily at 200 MA, and we're holding it. So if we hold it today and we start to break these highs, I think we're going to see a continuation of strength within Ethereum. So if we look at that on the USDT chart, as things stand now, it's still above the retest levels, and it's still showing that right now on a shorter time frame or medium time frame on ETH, it's good to accumulate between the 1,840 and the 1,900 level within ETH, because if it continues, not only may it give you great gains to the USDT if the market bounces, but it looks like it's going to make you a good amount of Bitcoin. So pay attention to Ethereum. Then let's quickly go through these updates over here. Litecoin entering the short-term buy zone for some trades. Pay attention for Litecoin. It's obviously shown a lot of strength. Chainlink also hovering above the lows as things stand, above support trend. We want Bitcoin to hold these levels. We definitely want Bitcoin to hold these levels. And for me, it's the uncomfortable feeling now of buying these alts again. But I know in the motion cycle, this is the time to be loading up. So Chainlink, we're getting to another support. If it looks good, stops under these lows. Chainlink, I'm still looking at this get back to $7 to $8 on the bounce. And I know the bounce is coming soon, guys. There is a short-term bounce. Either it's going to be a quick dip off that gets bought up, but there is a strong bounce coming at some point. We got Cardano, which we're hearing a lot is going on in the back end. You know, it's crazy how they haven't actually provided anything that they've done, but there's always so much money being staked and so much money being put in there in the back end. So it came up again on the research call this morning, Cardano. So let's pay attention over here. Another pullback. I still think the mid-30s for Cardano is a really good long-term entry, not even just a short time frame. We spoke about that. Let's speak about DOT. DOT for me, this is a great horizontal. I saw some small volume spikes this morning. So I think there's some short-term interest, but DOTs for the long term, I think it's really good here. I'm paying attention to these guys because, like I say, when they're gone, they're gone. Solana, definitely. Strength, as I just spoke about. We then have XRP, which might be a little sell area. I don't know what the XRP army is going to say to me. It might even be a little sell area because it's stopping now. And for me, it kind of looks like it kind of looks like a little head and shoulders there. So there might be a short here, even if the market comes down. If we break that trend, wait for the break, there might even be a short to the downside and then a long. And then I think after that, once it gets through 60 cents, you can start looking at the higher levels, 60, 80, maybe even $1. A few other ones was NEAR, not broken out yet, but not pulling back at the moment with Bitcoin. So pay attention here. If it does break strongly above the 1.66 daily close today, I think that's good with a stop loss under the previous low, probably a 3 to 4% stop loss. I think NEAR is going to run. It's got to go back to $2 as first, next targets, and then we'll look at the higher levels. But it's showing strength right now. Phantom. This is a great horizontal for Phantom. I think for Phantom, this is like a really key, great level where it's been holding before, and a great level to put stop losses to under these previous lows. 786, perfect on the FIB. And if it breaks this trend, you got yourself a perla entry. Pay attention. If you don't have Phantom and you like it, pay attention to this area. I think you're going to get a really, really, really good entry that's going to rip. Phantom does this many times out of nowhere. And again, it's coming at some point, especially if that dominance comes strongly to the downside. The next one, which has rejected off a short-term trend, but that might break the trend within this week, and you guys just pay attention to, is Aptos. So Aptos is forming such a nice wedge right now, a long-term wedge, not that long, about a 3 to 4 month wedge to the downside. And when you finally get at any point here a daily break, stop below under the lows, I think you're going to get yourself a really good entry. And wherever that low is, when we break the trend, you'll take the Fibonacci from the top to the bottom, and you'll get an area of where it will go on the 618. And if you look at percentage-wise, when this breaks strong over here, that's a good 70 to 80% trade. So pay attention to that one too. I was actually speaking about this morning. Look how AVAX even is starting to break the daily. So there's definitely coins starting to break to Bitcoin when it comes to the dominance coming down at the moment. I quickly want to update on the AI tokens taking their time, but in dollar costing zones. So we still have Singularity in a dollar cost zone at the moment as it stands. We'll quickly look at Fetch. Fetch entering just the top of the box now for the dollar costing zone. We had Matrix, which come down. There we go. Finally getting our entry after we got the first strong pump to the upside. Now it's coming back down to our dollar costing zone. Remember to build your AI portfolios. Important. Let's look at Ocean. Ocean too. So Ocean broke out and coming to test. So guys, this is really good retest, especially to restructure your portfolio. One that I told you guys to get out of after we got in was definitely GRT because it formed that crazy candle. And I was like, guys, protect your gains over here. But this one over here is coming again to the dollar costing zone, which is good. So if you enjoyed the first GRT run, it's coming again down to the areas. So basically around 11.5 cents to around about the 12-cent mark area. And I'll take a little bit of time because it had that big rejection. Take a little bit of time to stock up on it, because to really expect a big push from it again would be the break of that major trend. And like Bitcoin, I just showed you guys on the 4-hour chart, if it's away from the trend like this, it means that it can just take a little bit of time before you get the real breakout. So use this whole period. Don't rush too much, but build your period, your tokens and your portfolio within that time. What time is this Apple announcement? Do we know?
10 a.m. Pacific time. So
Their time,
yeah,
US time.
yeah. So I think it's about 8 or 9 hours behind.
Okay, that should be Run's time, his show time. So it shouldn't be too much longer till we'll know. So that's what we want to pay. Oh, Big Ben DJ. I actually appreciate you, bro. You've given so much love on the Chosen Ones channel and all of that. Thank you so much for that. Guys, remember, I did a stream with 𝗪𝗏𝗍𝗍 on my personal channel. So go to Sheldon the Sniper on YouTube and go watch that. Go show some love on the personal channel. We're getting things rolling there. And then let's wait for the announcements. Let's wait for the market open today. Let's wait for Bitcoin. Let's have a look. We've got an oil trade with PrimeXBT. Remember, that is below in the description if you want to open up an account. We have the OKX. If you sign up, there's up to $30,000 worth in rewards. There's mystery boxes if you use the links below. Hit a double whammy and use the OKX link for Sniper School. So you can join Sniper School as well. Remember, to join Sniper School, you use a Sniper School exchange link. You deposit $100 or more that you get to trade with, and you put in a user ID, and then you come join me in class. And that's where we start to turn you into a sniper. Have a fantastic day. Much love to you all, and I'll see you all on tomorrow's show. Much love and fun.